Well, hello.
Hello.
How are
Hello,
you?
Kobus. I am very good. Let me just turn off my
Cool.
phone so I don't keep on bothering people here.
Yeah,
Good morning.
I just have to fix something quickly. So what you can hear now is my background without noise filtering, and they are doing some building and I don't know whatnot next door. And now we should have blissful silence.
I think there's a delay between your voice and your video for some
Okay.
reason. So
Okay. Let's
why?
just double check. Give me a sec. Okay. Yeah. I think I know what that is. I will be back in 1 second.
And I'll entertain everybody. Hello. While Kobus is away, while Kobus is this blank sphere or his desktop here. Hello, Twitter from Kobus. Hey, Kobus again.
Awesome. This time I didn't share anything dodgy on my screen.
No.
Yes, welcome. Let me just click the last little button over here. There we go. I was trying something new out today. But first, let's welcome the people to today's session show, edutainment session, which is the AWS Africa Office Hours. And we are here to answer technical questions. So I have got Darko joining me again here today. And we will be talking all things AWS tech for those that are joining us. So let's kick things off. While we wait for some questions, what have you been playing with in the last day? Let's make it very specific, because I believe
day. Oh, actually
Yes.
yesterday I completely skipped tech. Like yesterday was my day of, well, no, actually no, I haven't. I fixed my Windows booting, but I talked about that yesterday. But in general, I didn't do a lot from the tech side. I did get a new PC, so I showed that yesterday on stream.
Okay.
Well, a new PC. It's actually here. This is the new PC. So this right here is a Windows 98 PC. It runs Windows 98 Plus. And not Kobus. I'm very silent again. It could be because my mic
yes.
was out. So thanks,
Okay,
Dennis.
let's just double check. Thanks. Yeah.
I want to make sure that it's good. Okay, Dennis, do let me know is it better or not. Because
Yeah. Mine is, my gain is down. For those wondering what I just did, here's my microphone. It's hiding right in front of me.
Dennis, I do have a preamp. I have an XLR condenser mic preamp, the Focusrite the thing everybody has, but it's in the same position as yesterday. So okay. So yeah, that was my thing.
Started.
Yeah, that was my thing yesterday. I was doing something with the Windows 98 PC, trying to make it work. It works.
Did it boot?
It booted. It's in German. It has a 20 gigabyte hard drive inside, which has
Huge.
scuff marks. So you can see that the metal on the disk was bent, and it's still alive.
Those old hard drives were not as resilient as you get the ones nowadays. Like literally, you sneeze at it and it was an issue.
Exactly.
But please tell me, does it have the old ATA connectors?
Of course.
Thick ribbons. Oh,
yeah, it's ATA, it's IDE, and it's all you can hear the the old sound of old hard disks. Oh man, so it all works. Actually, it's a Windows 98 machine, but it's a very powerful Windows 98 machine. So it's the Pentium 3 Celeron equivalent. So it's a 1 gigahertz Celeron. So it is.
Pentium 3. Those are actually not bad if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
They didn't run as hot.
Exactly. So it's a relatively okay machine. It used to be like a cash register machine, and I got it off eBay in Germany like 20 euros or something like that. So no money basically. It runs Windows 98. It has 512 gigabytes of DDR RAM, DDR1. And
you mean meg?
Meg. Sorry, what?
Not GBs. Otherwise, that'll be a fancy server.
Yeah, megabytes. So yeah, I got it. I have Windows 98 running on it. I don't think I'm gonna have Windows 98 running on it. I will probably try to do some old retro Linux on it to see how I can make it work. So it has an Ethernet card, so it is internet capable, as they call it. So yeah. But yeah, and you, Kobus, I know you had a really nice adventure yesterday regarding tech and Windows.
Also, so let's start working backwards, because that's the thing that AWS does, right? So working backwards from 12:30 last night. Note to self: do not do this to yourself. I'm no longer geared to be able to do these post-midnight things. I redid my streaming desktop, which is currently what we are
Yay!
using over here. Basically, what happened is that history. So this is what used to be my gaming rig back when I still had time for games. So what happened is that I got this machine 2018, I think, at the start. So there's a little bit of gaming that still happened at that point. And then basically, first kids started walking around, crawling and those things. And obviously then it's not like, hey, let's play with them on the lap and play with them. You have to like play with them. You can no longer do something else, which is fun. And that just meant that I didn't have as much time for games anymore. So I didn't game. So I decided, well, let me use it. Did some cryptocurrency mining with it.
Okay.
Just for fun, playing around, undervolting, all of those nice techie geeky things. And then since then it was sitting quiet for about 9 months or 10 months, and then obviously the plague hit and I needed something for streaming. So here we have it. And I was a little bit concerned about like what's installed there, it's got this weird bug where it hangs. It's a Windows thing, it's a known issue. So I decided, well, let's do a clean install, see what happens. So now I have a clean install. And more than that, I have installed Windows system for Linux. Windows subsystem for Linux.
Subsystem for Linux, yes.
Yes. So I now have got an Ubuntu image, and I installed Kali because I used to play with it quite a lot, and I want to play with it some more. Yeah. And now I will be playing quite a lot with this and actually doing a lot of live demos with it as well, because I want to see how far I can push this. So I'm going to try and make it my primary dev machine for a few months to give an opinion about, is this Linux Windows combo good? Because a lot of people do dev on Windows.
I mean, in all honesty, Windows subsystem for Linux makes Windows proper usable for development. I mean, don't get me wrong, .NET developers don't scream at me. Windows is great for C++, .NET, and all the stuff like that. But for traditional Linux/Unix based tools, doing things in Python on Windows was always iffy at best, especially if you're going to host the production on a Linux server. So now with WSL, it kind of brings a whole new thing to you because it makes it so much easier. I use WSL, right? There are limitations, of course. It's not like a fully fledged Linux machine yet. I think Microsoft is working toward that way that it's going to be fully integrated. WSL2 is much better than WSL1. Even though it's a kind of a virtual machine, it has some sort of a kernel integration with. So it has a direct Linux kernel. The WSL1 didn't have a Linux kernel. It was
okay.
The storage was using the Windows kernel for translation. It was super slow when it comes to storage. You couldn't do Docker, you couldn't do nested virtualization, and a whole bunch of things. So I think goes with a good text editor such as VS Code and WSL2, you will be more than good on anything. So
I definitely want to play with VS Code a bit more because we had the first GitHub Africa meetup this week. I played around with Terraform and GitHub Actions, which was quite a lot of fun, which we can talk about in a little bit. But also one of the other presenters, Lawrence, did a demo of VS Code specifically with the remote connection capabilities.
It's very good.
Being able to even throw your code from locally into a container remotely. And that was that looks super interesting. I want to go play with that.
It's very powerful, I must say. So, I mean, I'm a fan of Vim, right? And I think Vim in itself is a really great text editor, and I can use all the Vim things on my VS Code if I want. But me being a stubborn, it's too bloated person, I like to use Vim still. But VS Code is that kind of a tool editor that makes me giddy. I'm like, oh my god, look at all the things it can do. I remember first time I've seen. So, backstory: I've started web development, PHP, in Dreamweaver. So Adobe Dreamweaver. So that was like, I thought that was the best thing ever. It cost like 700 euros back then to purchase. I didn't, of course, I come from a third world country. I didn't purchase software. I've had a bad unauthorized copy of that one. And somebody showed me Sublime Text. And I was like, oh my god, Sublime Text is so good. You can edit multiple rows at a time. And I have the same feeling about VS Code now. So
just a quick question there. Would you have said that you had a Sublime experience?
Oh snap! Yes. I mean, I like Sublime so far that I bought Sublime. Sublime was like $50.
Oh.
I paid for Sublime. I mean, you could use a free version, no limits, right? But I paid for it. It was so good. It's very I must say it was very interesting, and I think the same with VS Code. I think VS Code is one of the best tools for developers that came out in the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
combination of
No, it's
WSL2,
definitely.
VS Code, perfect.
Awesome. Cool. I see we've got a couple of extra viewers that have just joined us in the last few minutes. So welcome to the AWS Africa Office Hours. It doesn't mean that questions are limited to people from Africa. This is just focused in the Africa time-friendly time zone. So if you have any technical AWS questions or questions about AWS, DevOps, automation,
Our beards.
infrastructure as code, yeah, our beards, why we look the same, are we the same person, anything along those lines, we are more than happy to answer those for you. We have our first one, Charles Cookie Monster. This is going to be a fun discussion.
Okay, I've actually used cops once in my life. I mean, I've used it. I've tried using it. Is there any benefit to using it over AKS? I don't have enough knowledge to answer that. So
Okay.
maybe you can do it.
Yeah. So just firstly, for those unfamiliar, Kops is a open source, let's call it a Kubernetes installer that basically works with different cloud providers. And I think it even does bare metal if you wanted to. And you feed it a bunch of configurations, and then it will go and provision your infrastructure for you. So the primary nodes that run etcd, the kube, what's kube admin? I've forgotten all the naming of what those components are that run on the main nodes. But in any case, all of those components, so basically it gets your cluster up and running, and then you add some more worker nodes to it, and then you've got your Kubernetes cluster up and running so you can actually use it. You've got a lot of fine-grained control over it because this is literally, it takes an EC2 instance, well, all three of them at least, for the primary nodes, and then gets the right copies of things running on there for you, establishes the trust between them, etc. Whereas EKS is Amazon's, or AWS's rather, Elastic Kubernetes service, which is a fully managed Kubernetes service. So you go specify a bunch of parameters, and then the actual primary nodes are hosted by us, and we take care of that whole backplane for you. And you just interact with a number of worker nodes and use kubectl, etc. to work with it. So the benefits there. Well, one thing is that obviously Kubernetes releases every 3 months, I believe, or every 6 months. I can't remember exactly what the release cycle is, but for example, it does take quite a bit of time for validating that everything in the new release works with what we have in the way we, for example, build EKS. Because it's not like we just go, hey, new Kubernetes version, let's roll out and install it, boom, YOLO. No, there is an insane amount of testing and new feature integration and things that happen when a new version of Kubernetes comes out. But some people want to use the latest version as quickly as possible. And that is, I think, where a benefit of Kops comes in, because you could grab the latest version and upgrade your cluster or install it and at least play with it directly easily. Having said that, obviously, when a new version of Kubernetes and any software for that matter launches, it's always, personally for me, a good idea to stand back for a month or so to see what are the rough edges, what are the things that people didn't think about that can break. Because remember, it depends on your situation. If you can afford to have downtime when things break, sure, go for it, have fun, learn. It's a super fun experience. But mission critical, money-making systems tend to want to be up. And the focus there is on uptime, not on shiny new features. So that's the balance. So hopefully that's a very long-winded answer, but hope that helped.
Yeah, so to sum it up, if you want the latest and bleeding edge Kubernetes experience, you can run it through Kops. But if you are fine with having a one version back, or use a tested version, EKS is definitely it's gonna take away a lot of your efforts. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how big of an effort is it to do it through Kops, because I did deploy something through Kops. If I recall correctly, it was a bunch of YAML files and some CLI, and it would deploy it for you. But I'm not sure how. Again,
it's one of those classic things where if you don't stray too much from the path and go too exotic with your configuration stuff, it'll work out the box. Similar with Kubernetes, if you install it by hand, it works out the box. But it's always a case of, where I'm concerned is like, when it breaks, how does it break and how do I fix it? And I'm super concerned about that, because the projects I've worked on haven't been ones that we could afford downtime. So
and it's a very, I mean, it's the question here is like, how much time do you have to manage a solution? How much thing? Hey, you may want to do it. Maybe that's your only job, is to manage a Kubernetes cluster, and you wish to do it. Fine, right? But if you want to spend your time on something else, a managed service is the way to go.
Like, It's one of those things where, depending on the size of the organization, often this boils down to, well, you can spend all your cycles building out infrastructure and pumping out it, and it's awesome for A, your experience, and B, your career. But taking a step back, your employer, the company's trying to probably build something and want features out there. Should you be spending days setting up a cluster?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, it's the same thing. Like, small companies hosting their own Exchange servers or email servers is like, is that the best use of your time?
Yeah. Because I think the question becomes like, what happens in terms of how does it push the business forward? Does it help your business at all? Because sending and receiving email, that's something that's common. I mean,
unless your business is sending and receiving email.
Sure. Different discussion. But I mean, literally, you don't pick working with company A versus company B because they self-host email.
Exactly.
I'd almost be saying, like, if they self-host, I'd take a step back and be a little bit concerned about where the time is being spent.
Yeah. I had this discussion in one of my previous employers is like, does this actually brings us a better bottom line? Like, are we, for us hosting our Exchange server internally in a cluster, does this actually make us do better business, or is this somebody's decision because they were told we should host an Exchange internally for 100 mailboxes, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, fun.
That's a fair point.
Quick digression just before we go on to the next comment. I see there's one. Taking our name tags away, can you actually see what I've added to my sorry, my arm doesn't work this way.
It's some Darth Vader thing.
It is. It's a little Darth Vader light. I found it. We bought it a long time ago for one of the kids as a nightlight, but it was a bit too bright, so I've now decided to pump out my office a bit more.
Nice.
There's a theme here.
I turned on my lights, so I have this little thing that I can change the lights potentially. There we go. And I figured out some of the lights, like the orange light, actually is blinking. So you can't see it in person, but on camera it's blinking. So if I do some lighter lights, it's a bit.
Oh, of course, yeah. The way it's strobing or pulsing the light for that specific. Yeah. I at one point was able to still do all the math of that and do the integration, and actually work out the power and pulsing and how it did. Can't do that anymore. But can I give you a challenge with that light, since you can control the color that my daughter gave me? Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you make it brown?
No. Brown is not a color. Brown is not a color. Brown is a combination of colors.
Yes, which is interesting.
Yeah, brown is like which is interesting.
Some of the colors, and the thing is, the thing is, you can't do it with light, but you can do it with things like paint. Because I mean, we've all seen brown paint. So it's physical pixels is additive, but with light, I read through it and it was like super interesting. I found it a lot of fun. Cool. Oh, Darko, here's one that you'll definitely have an opinion on.
Let me just answer the question to Mr. Simple Coders. Thank you for the nice feedback. We try to be entertaining and educating at the same time. Asking for like a better US friendly time. We used to do something like that in the evenings, our time, but it turned out to be complex because of personal reasons, right? We're always looking to expand doing these things. Hey, if a lot of folks from the US decide, hey, they want to watch two bald bearded guys talk about tech in their own time, I think we will be happy to kind of oblige. So do let us know about that, those kind of things. And this is just kind of friendly for our time zones. Both of us are based in EMEA. Okay, Vel 17121. Secrets Manager versus Param. Velisva. Hi. Hey, Velisva.
Yes.
Hi. I actually didn't do a talk. I did a video because Kobus, I see what you're doing there. You're writing it on a little sticky note that I need to.
No. It's just doing this as a little joke, but I didn't figure out how to display it properly.
By personal, he means by. Yes, exactly. So, I've done a video on that one. So actually, it's a video I've done on Secrets Manager and Parameter Store. If you're interested in that, but let me boil it down to you all. So, when to use Secrets Manager, when to use Parameter Store. Secrets Manager is specifically designed for secrets. It can be used for any kind of secret things, but most of the times it's used for something that needs to be acted upon. So think of it as a password to a database. Think of it as credentials. Think of it as something that needs to be rotated every X. Because Secrets Manager in itself has the capability to rotate credentials. So it has built-in capability to rotate credentials for RDS databases. and I think that's it for now. But you can attach Lambda functions as your rotation logic. Basically, it gives you the ability to rotate passwords completely automatically through Secrets Manager. And the way you get a password is just by querying the Secrets Manager, and that's it, right? So you don't ever have to care. Think of it as a really nice password manager that automatically rotates your passwords. And
Well, you have to care about rotation a little bit, because if the password is rotated under your feet, you need a new copy.
well, you don't. I mean, okay, so I mean, unless your application is caching a password for a long time, yeah. But the way this works, so think of your application. Let's say you have a container-based application or something that queries a database. Every time it makes a connection to the database, it actually makes a connection to Secrets Manager, gets the key, and then establishes a connection to the database, right? So yeah. So you cache your key for a while, yeah, but I mean, I think that the shortest amount of time you can rotate your password on Secrets Manager is 1 day. So caching a password for 1 day is fine. Sometimes, of course, you can have an issue where you combine the two, where you rotate your password while you still have an old password cached, and this is where your try and error comes in. Like you do error handling. If this happens, just step back, try to get a new password. If the new password is still wrong, then there's some other problems out there.
Yes.
So that's a really cool way. So you introduce secret querying logic into your own application, or password querying logic into your own application. And the way you determine who has permission is with IAM roles. So think of it as I explained in that video. Think of it as giving IAM like permission capabilities to applications that do not even know what IAM is, right? So instead of giving somebody a password, give them a role. And that role gives them the ability to access Secrets Manager to get the password. That's it, right?
And Secret Manager, you also have a path in there. So you can say, listen, all the values under this, grab it.
Yeah. There's a complexity in that you can define a full-on path, like a directory structure where you have your passwords. So you can have permissions to a specific subset of passwords or something like that. So or secrets. And parameter store is what it says on the tin, right? It's a place where you can store parameters. Those parameters that don't have to be secret by any means, right? They can be just.
But they can be.
They can be, right? But it can be like, oh, what is the latest AMI we're using, right? So what is our latest AMI? What is the version number of this and that, right? So, and you just query those things as you go along to kind of get that information, what you're doing. You can store secrets in parameters, so absolutely you can have them be encrypted and all that stuff, but it doesn't have any password rotation or secret rotation functionality by default. So and I think also the size of a secret and a size of a parameter is different. A parameter should be larger than a secret, so those kind of things.
Yeah, so I'm quickly having a look over here because there's a comment around the pricing. Let's pop that on the screen quickly.
Yeah.
I just want to pull up the pricing and see what it says.
Yeah, don't use Secrets Manager as a key value store. Definitely use it as a Secrets Manager. On parameter store, you can literally use it as a key value store. For some things, don't use it as a database, please. You can use it as a key value store for getting a lot of the things. Because there's a cost associated to every get operation. Right? Every time you request a password, there's a certain cost. So yeah, that's very important.
So I'm looking at it now.
Yep.
So it's 40 cents per secret per month. So and then also 5 cents per 10,000 API calls.
Yeah.
So I think if you're doing a high volume one, then yeah.
Yeah. So this is where the art of fine tuning caching comes in, and fine tuning caching is very important to understand how like if your password doesn't rotate every 12 days, cache your password for 12 days. It's fine, right? You can cache your password that long. Or okay, maybe not that long, but a longer time. You will not request a password every 1 second. And even with Lambda functions, if you have a swarm of Lambda functions, you can still do caching at a Lambda level. So you will have I think as long as the Lambda function is warm, it will be cached. So at least for an hour, it will be cached. So that's very cool.
Yeah. Let me have a look. So parameter store is you just pay for the actual retrieval of the values and the
Correct.
API interactions. Yeah. So,
Correct.
So a fun thing. Wait, let's just quickly answer this one. which
You cache
is
your.
Secret
Yeah, go
Manager.
ahead. Yeah.
So I'm assuming the password caching happens inside your application. You
Yes,
have to take
yeah.
care, once you've retrieved it from Secret Manager, how does your app actually handle it? Does it do it at load time? Does it do it with every database call?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
this
it's
is
up to
really
you.
up to you. Yeah, this is really up to you. So we don't cache the password anywhere. The password sits in Secrets Manager. Now, where does it stick in the background? I don't know. It's somewhere in the black magic of the cloud, right? But it's, again, exclusive to you. And it is not cached on our side. It should be cached on your application. So this is where the magic of application caching comes in.
So one thing here that I've done in the past with it was with Terraform, but you can do it with, I think, other infrastructure as code options as well, is like version controlling and committing secrets to a Git repo, which at first thought sounds absolutely terrible. Yes, your face explains it all. But what I did was the following. There are two KMS keys involved. The one is the encryption key, and the other one is actual storage key. So what I did there is that I'd set up policies to allow the developers to be able to encrypt for the various environments using key one, but they did not have permission to decrypt. So it's a one-way operation. So they can never go they can change the value to a new value, and then it rolls out as infrastructure as code changes, but they can never, decrypt it. And then what I did with Terraform is I said, well, there is a secret string defined in this variable using key one, and then it's able to decrypt it using that because Terraform had permission to use key one decryption, and then it would re-encrypt it in parameter store using key two. It actually worked very well because it gave the developers full access to be able to change values, but they could never get hold of it, which is useful because set it once and forget. And you can there were even some scripts that actually automated the generation of the encrypted string, so they never saw the string in plain text on their side.
That's very cool. I mean, there's versioning in parameter store and secrets manager as well, so you can have different versions of your passwords for sure. You can query the specific different versions, but also there's a HashiCorp Vault, right? It's a really nice place to store secrets. Or like if you ever used Chef has a thing called encrypted data bags, which are basically just encrypted blobs of things which you can only decrypt while executing during the launch, and that's it. So that's a really nice way also. Like a data bag is a really great way to kind of move secrets across everything without having a key to decrypt it. So if you really need to commit something, I'm not sure how HashiCorp Vault works. Is it a managed service?
Let me tell you in a second. Just quickly, I just want to quickly make notes here about what we've been talking about.
HashiCorp Vault is a nice, really nice utility that does, a lot of the secret. It doesn't do secret management. It's a secret or
no, it's okay.
Sensitive information store. Yeah.
Yes. So what it does is it can store values for you as like similar to parameter store and secret manager. Then it's got the capability to also rotate secrets for you. But where it becomes very, very interesting is that it's got the concept of being able to integrate with backends, and a backend can be your RDS database. It can be your, let's say, RabbitMQ cluster. There's a whole list of backends already supporting. You can build your own support if you wanted to. What this enables it to do is that because it can communicate and understand, you, for example, give it a policy for your RDS Postgres server saying, listen, this is user type developer. They can create tables, edit, etc. The normal permissions that you would give on the database level in any case to whatever login it is you're associating or app one. Then what happens is that when an app requests access to RDS via Vault, it says, hey, listen, can I get database credentials? Vault goes and says, cool, creates a temporary user or a user with a TTL on it inside the database, and then passes that to the actual application. So it's got a couple of interesting aspects there. The first one is if you've got 5 copies of the app running, you get 5 copies or 5 different users created with different TTLs when they started, but with the same policy attached. So it manages that for you, and then it rotates them on an individual basis. The other part that got me like, oh, this is so cool, is that we always have the problem of when a new EC2 instance comes into service, how do we make sure it's in the trusted chain? Because at some point, it's actually from Vault's perspective, it's a, hey, I'm a server, can I get some credentials and secrets? And you're like, well, do I know you? Do I not know you? Are you trusted? Etc. So what it does there is that every EC2 instance that is spun up has got public information about it, like the instance ID, etc. AWS in the background signs that information with a certificate, so you can go pull that information, use that public cert, and say, yes, this information is correct. And then what Vault does is it uses AWS as a trusted third party. That when an instance comes up, says, I trust you because that value is correct. Here's an N once token. So only usable once token to bootstrap you into the Vault security cycle, which means that if an EC2 instance comes up, it either is able to join the trusted cycle or not. If it's not, it means someone in the middle grabbed that token and did something. So you immediately know, boom, someone's in my service. Yeah.
That's basically the same way that Secrets Manager works with instance profiles. So it verifies the instance as it having permissions to access the secret by just invoking an instance profile. That's very cool.
No,
cool. Never played around with Vault. And Vault is a managed service, right?
No. Vault is you can self-host it. They have got a mechanism where on HashiCorp I haven't played with, and I still need to. Is where you go set up your account, and from there they will deploy Vault into your account as effectively a managed service for you. I believe.
Okay.
But I read a headline a while back. I just haven't had time to play with that yet, but it's on my list as well.
I see that. Yeah, there's an enterprise platform as well. So there's an open source version, which is basically your own thing, and there's an enterprise platform which you can, I guess, gives you the ability to. Is that mine? Yeah, I have some airplanes flying.
Wait, airplanes? What are those?
I don't know. I haven't seen one in ages. Cool. Man.
Yeah, no. And let's quickly check. More questions? No, we are good for questions at the moment. So where are we on the time? Sorry, past. Yes, welcome. Sorry, like I said, the late night is really hitting me. It's like I can feel my brain is slow today. So welcome for everyone who's joining us for this session today. It's called the AWS Africa Office Hours, where we answer technical AWS questions, but don't let the Africa part in the name put you off if you're not part of Africa. I mean, we've got Darko here. He's a European. And we are here to answer technical questions. So it's just focused in a nice friendly time zone slot for Africa. So what you can see at the bottom is we focus on the West Coast. So our friends from Nigeria, it's 11 a.m. that side. And on the East Coast, Kenya, it's it's 1:30 that side. So this is just a nice lunch-ish break session to talk about tech. So please ask us questions.
And to join the Africa Office Hours, to ask any questions, you first have to show your passports, because we have to verify you are coming from Africa. So, and I officially cannot ask for passports. I officially cannot ask for questions here because Kobus, they're all South African. I have 2 different countries. Come on, blink.
Oh. I've got something on more fun. Let me just now. There's nothing personal on this. So who wants to see a blast from the past, Kobus?
Oh wow. Is it no beer?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Jesus, man. Oh, man. No. Is that like 2004?
This was, I want to say, my early 20s.
I guess that's 2004, right? I mean, I'm not sure. You're older than me. You get off my
Darko, we've had this discussion.
Hello, Graham. Graham is on chat. Hi, Graham. Hello from the
UK.
Yes, yeah. What if you identify as an African? Yeah, I guess maybe somebody needs to issue an identifies an African passport, and let's go.
Yeah. Simple code. Just quickly to answer the 4 passport question. That is the very first passport that I have had before I was 18, and then our passports tend to last 10 years. And I do believe actually one of these is not mine. It's actually my daughter's. Let me just double check. Yes. She's so cute. I wish I could. No, sorry. There's no way I can easily show this without sharing any PPI. But maybe.
Wait, are we showing? Are we showing like old versions of ourselves?
Yes. Ooh.
And you saw some PPI there as well, but it's nothing important. It's Serbian, so it's fine.
Yeah, this is hopefully it's not too PPI, but I mean, how cute is this for a passport photo?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, Graham, happy birthday! 41 years young. Wow. And Tadrog. Any chance you guys can bring someone to talk about Twitch architecture? Assuming that it's hosted somewhere in the cloud and it has its challenges, maybe even. I know some folks who work with Twitch, but I don't know anybody. We can check it out. We will if we do that, we will make it a very special stream, right? It's going to be a very specific type of stream, not just an office hours. Because in office hours we try to answer your questions, right? But I know a lot of people are interested in Twitch, especially because this is running on Twitch. Maybe this would be cool. We can't promise anything, but we'll try.
Yeah, but I mean, so just some background is AWS or Amazon actually owns Twitch, so we may. But I mean, there's a big. Often people don't understand that there's Amazon and there's
Yeah.
AWS, and we are two completely separate companies.
And
We
also-
run
and there's,
separately.
and there's Twitch. Twitch is a separate entity,
Yeah.
and IMDb is a separate entity, and Audible is a separate
Yeah.
entity, and the comics thing. Yeah, all of them are very, very separate from us. So I know I met the guy from Audible on reInvent, and him and I were in the bus, and we were talking, and like they had to pay for entrance into the reInvent and everything. They were treated like separate customers, even though they belong to the same upper entity. But it's weird. Like it's a completely different company. Yeah.
Like we always say,
there's
they are just they are one of our
Goodreads, Whole
larger
Foods,
customers.
Yeah. Kobus, here's a question from Mark
Oh.
Young. Oh, let me show.
Oh, yeah, cool. So the question is, I have a couple of websites on GoDaddy and I wish to transfer them to AWS, but my challenge has been how to move data off the email server and the email accounts with no data loss. Ooh, that is always a fun one. Migrating email servers is, I'm assuming the fact that you're saying data, that it's set up as an IMAP server where the emails are stored on the actual server. Now for that, there should be, there's definitely tooling available for that, but I don't think AWS has got any specific tooling for that. I'm trying to think now what the best route there is. I mean, other than the normal IMAP tools to do a sync and keep the two mail servers wherever the new one is in sync is.
That's you would have to have downtime.
Yeah.
I don't see a way how you can do it, because especially IMAP is just a local database running on the email server, right? It's a local data store. It's not a database, so you can have a sync between. Or I may be completely wrong, but my traditional look at a Linux-based IMAP server, everything is sitting on the disk itself. So you either have to have some sort of downtime. You have to have this cutoff point between no more email. But yeah, I would basically.
It's
How would you
approach?
approach? So let's talk about websites, Mr. Mark Young. Websites is easy, right? That's you can have zero to no downtime.
Easy.
Yeah, relatively easy. You can have zero to no downtime there. But when it comes to emails, so let's do a thought experiment. I want to move my emails from my own hosted server to a publicly hosted server as well, somewhere.
Well, that's the first question.
Okay,
are we
is it
moving it?
Yeah.
Is it a self-managed mail server that we want to do, or do we want to move to something like Amazon Simple Email Service (SES), etc.? So that's oh no, sorry, Workmail. SES. SES for SES. SES is for sending. So the question is, do you want to move to something like a managed service like Workmail, or self-managed? So that's definitely the first question. But continue. Let's assume you are going for
a managed service.
Workmail.
Let's consider that. And I'm a decision maker in this company that wants to migrate. The first thing I would do is any new accounts. Can you have two email servers? Can you have two?
We haven't touched on DNS.
DNS. MX has to point somewhere. So you cannot separate things.
No, you can, because remember, MX records have got a priority with waits. So what you can do is you can set up the new server, keep syncing it, add it as priorities at the bottom ones, make sure that or actually do the DNS way before you even set up the new server so that it points there, because in theory, it shouldn't reach those bottom ones because the top ones are able to serve it. Get the new server up and running, sync the data, block access to the old one, because then in theory, it should go can't reach, new one.
Okay. No, my question.
So that solves the DNS problem.
Yeah, my question here is if I would have I would bring up a new server, right? I would bring up a new server that has not new server. I'm using Workmail. I'm using a managed email service. Do not host your email servers at all if you don't have to. And I would create all new users would be created on the new side. No new users would be created on the existing side. So basically, I would have legacy users who are on the old server, and all the new users would start being created on the new one. Would they still get email? That's my question. Because if an email is sent and the MX record says it's the old server gets the request, says no user existing, well, bam, back. So I've never migrated email. You have to do it.
you definitely have to have like a blockout period where you say, listen, no new email accounts. And the only way I can see you being able to not have mail somewhere and not somewhere else, because that whole where's it going is going to be the problem, is that by setting up your DNS to be able to send to both of them, but low priority for the new one. Literally, when you block access and immediately finish the sync, or just for a short period, because they normally, once again, normally
you have to have
are retries for mails. Yeah, it's yeah.
I think it's very important that we have downtime here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's this is quite a complex operation. So quickly, I see we have got a couple of hellos, so let's go through those. Definitely recognizing some of them. Alex Smasher, welcome back.
Hey.
And today we are doing office hours, ask me anything type technical questions. So please throw questions at us. And then also, hey, Tan and Biff. So where's AWS Africa, South Africa? So let me quickly do that before we get to the technical question. No, hey, I'm the host. Stop clicky. Sorry, we do streaming so often together that we switch roles all the time. So quickly, AWS Africa, that's a slightly multi-answered question in the sense that there are multiple facets to this. Firstly, there is the AWS region in Cape Town, which launched on the 22nd of April this year. So there's a region here. Then in Cape Town, we have got the AWS Development Center that's been there since, I want to say 2004, 2005. Quick fun fact, that's where EC2 came from. Very, very proud and happy. So there's the Development Center. Then there is we've got the commercial side, which means we've got commercial offices in Cape Town as well as in Joburg. Then there are the points of presence, which came before the region in Cape Town, Joburg, and Kenya, I believe, are the latest live ones. And then also in Cape Town, we've got other services like premium support and cloud engineering, and the other Amazon offices as well. For example, some of the call centers, auditors, and things. So AWS Africa is quite a large, multi-pronged answer. Cool. Yeah. So getting back to this technical question here from Ikahoan. Sorry, I pronounced
also,
it
this is AWS Africa in my eyes. So Kubus is AWS Africa. So for me.
Yes. So I sit in Cape Town and he sits in Berlin. Yeah, cool. Right. Let's read through this question. How do I give an S3 bucket or CloudFront distribution access to a Lambda function hosted behind an API gateway? I want a function to be called only by the specific S3 bucket. I know. Go for it.
So the S3 bucket cannot invoke. You cannot. I mean, yes, it can. The bucket itself can invoke a Lambda function, but it's not in the way you think. A bucket or a CloudFront distribution will not say, "Hey, call a Lambda function." What you can do is set up a Lambda trigger. A basic Lambda trigger would be if something has been uploaded to an S3 bucket. So that would be one of the approaches you would do here, right? So otherwise, there's no other way to do it, at least not in my knowledge. Now, if you're talking about hosting a website, a static website in an S3 bucket, still the bucket doesn't do anything. The call comes from JavaScript from the user client, right? So HTML cannot make calls. So HTML is very not very active from that perspective. And the only thing that you can host in a bucket is static content per se, right? So bucket itself or a CloudFront distribution cannot invoke a Lambda. So the only thing that can invoke a Lambda function is a thing being uploaded to an S3 bucket. One other thing you can do potentially is give permissions based off the permissions to launch a Lambda function based off the origin, right? The origin of the call could come from a specific S3 bucket, so that's something you should check out, right? So, yeah.
Cool. Couple of questions here. Let's pop this on the screen quickly here. Experimentation or API to get countable objects. This is actually an interesting one because I'd be very interested to hear what is the reason for wanting to count the objects, because in theory it's like sometimes it's useful to know how many files there are, but I'm trying to think now of an actual business case because Because you can do things like every time a new file is created, because S3
Correct.
can emit SNS notifications, so you can keep track of them that way.
Yeah.
But just remember that
there is no way to kind of count the numbers in the
Yeah.
bucket, count the things in S3 buckets. So.
Yeah. Remember, S3 is not a file store; it is an object store. So it does behave subtly differently in that way. And also, just remember with SNS, we guarantee at least once delivery, if I remember the documentation correctly, which means that you'll have to have some kind of checking: have I seen this file name before or not, including the full file name plus the key, which is effectively the directory structure for practical purposes.
Correct. I mean, there's no direct API that you can count. You can list all objects and count them, of course. Mind you, that's making a whole bunch of API calls. So that's one of the ways you can do it. There is no like get me number of things in a bucket API call. Why? I mean, you can do that with a list bucket with all the objects there as well. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, cool. Let's just double check quickly. Yeah. So also, if you want to get started, so I see Alex Smasher making comments around getting started with building a website using S3 and CloudFront and adding in some Lambdas. Definitely go take a look at AWS Amplify. It makes life really, really easy. I'm going to take your accent away, Darko. I'm going to kick you off and make you a guest.
Let me turn off my mouse. It doesn't work now.
Yeah. Shame. Although you'll probably know all the shortcuts, so it's fine. All good. Let's go. Let's see quickly. A follow-up question on that. SNS make a stateful, so I have to persist the counter. Yeah. Yep. That's it. So that's the thing. It's like, but I mean, Tannenbuff. The question here is, why do you need this count? What's the use there? Because that's the interesting part. Because S3 might not be the best place to then whatever you need. If you need to keep track of the count of files, is not necessarily the best place to try and do it. So yeah. So let me quickly. There I need to click over there. Yeah. So what I want to do now quickly is Darko is going to detain us for 1 second because I want to share a whole bunch of links. Because one of the things, yes, Darko. Deer in the headlights. I'm sure
let me get my dance hat on.
Everybody dance now. Doon. Yes. No, the reason is what I want to quickly do is a single message I want to share because there's actually quite a lot happening at the moment online, and we often have people saying, "Listen, this is awesome. When can we see you next?" And there are at least 4 to 8 different streams per week and sessions and ways to find things. So I'm going to quickly write one up here because I actually don't have one yet. But the first plug that I'm going to do is always a self plug. So Darko and myself need, I think, 6 more subscribers on YouTube before we can finally rename our channel to Not Quibus, Not Darko. We would love it if we can. Please. Yep. Yes, and to get there, and let me just double check is not C. Not
to answer Alex answer. Not sure if Darko is Serbian or not. Yes, I am and not. I am technically Serbian. I come from Serbia. I have 1/4 of my family being Serbian, and everything else, the other parts. So I'm a mix of all things. So I come from Serbia. My first name is Croatian. My last name is Hungarian. I have 2 passports. I have Serbian and Hungarian passports. I live in Germany. I speak English. Yeah. So it's a mix and match. Yeah. Excellent. So a few questions I want to answer. Mart Young, talking about Workmail. I read somewhere that cost per user count is $4 per month. Is this fixed or still pay as you? I think this is fixed. A lot of those end user computing services are basically fixed cost. It's still pay as you use, but pay as you use in the terms of how many users you have, and that's it. So if you use like WorkDocs or Workmail or Workspaces, they are basically pay per use. So it's $4 per month, which is, I think, relatively okay. I mean, to be honest, I've used Workmail once in my life. Haven't used it quite extensively, so I don't know I cannot say fully recommended, right? I would advise that you check it out. It's at least cheap to check it out for sure. So, question from Williswa. Just tried Amplify not too long ago for the first time. Now wondering what took me so long. Yes. So I would agree with this statement. Amplify is a thing that if you have never tried it out and then you try it for the first time, you're like, why didn't I know this sooner? So if you ever want to host a static website on AWS, or even like when I say static, I mean things that generate static websites. So it doesn't have to be pure HTML. And you want to do it in a proper, good. I have SSL, I have HTTPS, I have feature branches, I have passwords behind feature branches, I have CI/CD pipeline for my static website. You should do it in Amplify. No question about it. Unless you need something very quirky for your static website, like running it in Kubernetes, don't. You should use Amplify. Amplify console per se, not even just Amplify. Again, there's two things of Amplify. There's Amplify, the framework, and there's Amplify console, which Willis was talking about here. So, and I think Kobus and I did a video a long time ago on the same on our YouTube channel, where we kind of built something, or we migrated something to Amplify.
No, definitely. So we actually did two things. We moved my blog there, and then what we also did is that I've got a short video. I think it's literally 6 minutes to go from nothing to having a fully custom domain SSL enabled Hugo site up and running. So
this is the website. Thank you for all the subscriptions right now. You are awesome. So please, we do want to get the links, get the subscribers. We have 100 subscribers.
Yes,
come on, let's do it.
Do we? Awesome. We can now finally set the name.
Woohoo! Yes. Yeah, we have the ugly URL, right? So, Tannenbiff, another question. SA East. What is that? SA East? What is SA East? What is SA East? Which region is
SA
that?
East 1.
South America? South America.
The South America East 1, yeah. So basically, generic answer here, unfortunately, is that we often don't have insight into when a service is going to launch. If we do have insight, we tend to not share it before the service is available. The reason is that it creates unrealistic expectations, because anybody who's built software before knows that sometimes you have to reprioritize. Things slip, things take longer than expected. So we just find that it's a worse customer experience to actually say, "Ooh, it's going to launch on that day," and then miss that deadline. Because if we take all of that into account, we tend to have to set the deadline so far in the future just to be sure that they go, "Oh wow, that's going to take too long." So it's the middle ground. There's no like clear, easy. Let's make it awesome for everybody. But I want to share this link that Graham shared, and it's actually pretty cool. So serverless.land.com. It's a site with all things serverless and a lot of the things. Well, AWS, right? So it's a collection of blogs, videos, articles about serverless. If you're interested to going directly on serverless and doing some things on serverless, this is a really great way. I think it's a platform coming from us. It's not a third-party site, so it's a site coming from us. So it's really cool. So morning. So what I want to do here quickly is I'm going to be blasting a whole bunch of text now. I hope this can all share. So this is basically, let me paste it first here and see if it can go through. Let's see what happens. I hit chat. Okay. So what we have got here is, the YouTube one did cut it off, unfortunately, but But this is all in one. So sorry about the formatting, but basically what we have is that this is the weekly AWS Africa Office Hours live stream. Come ask us technical questions. Yesterday at 1 hour earlier, we've got the EMEA AMA, which is a similar setup where it's our developer advocate team that we rotate the different people in and out. So you're not stuck with just my face the whole time, thankfully. Means that you can ask us technical questions there, and it's focused on the broader EMEA kind of group. Then Darko and myself stream on Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. We build things and we talk about tech in general. I believe tomorrow is going to be quite a fun one. We are not going to be doing infrastructure as code with CDK like we normally do. We've got some fun things to play around with. Darko will give us a sales pitch in 30 seconds once I finished off with this long list. Then I know Darko also streams on Tuesday.
What are we gonna do? I don't remember. I also forgot
Yes. Which is he also streams on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, plays around with various things. Those are quite nice long streams. I think your longest one was 3 hours, 4 hours?
3 hours streaming, yeah. There we go. Building, what did I do? Building demos for the awesome day that happened this week. Yes. So
yes,
I like to do those impromptu streams. Sometimes I do a proper stream, like the one I shared here with Secrets Manager, where I actually am coherent and say something useful. Other streams is just me like, hey, let's build things that I don't know how to build. And I have a lot of folks on chat, and I thank all the people who join my stream regularly and kind of chat and explore things with me. So thank you.
Yeah. And then also at the bottom of it, I dropped 3 sets of, actually 4 YouTube links. The one is just a repeat of the our channel that we put all our streams through. So when we stream live, all of these end up on YouTube. We also live stream to YouTube at the same time. So it's keep an eye there on, well, the previous ones and as well as the next ones coming. And then also shared my YouTube channel, Darko's YouTube channel, as well as our EMEA-based team, which is we're calling it the Cloud Builders. We're doing some different things, and all of these have got like different types of videos and different content and things. So go have a look, see what's good, what do you enjoy. Let us know. Well, wait, sorry. Please let us know in the comments what you like or didn't like about this video, and if we should change anything, and if you have any suggestions for future content. Thank you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also hit that little bell to be notified when our new video gets out. Sorry.
It's pronounced smash the like button and buy the merch.
Oh, sorry. Smash the button, ring the bell. Yes, sorry. Hey, Arcane is here. Welcome.
Yeah, ring that bell. Ring that bell so you get notified about our two big faces showing up on stream. Yeah. So,
sorry. It's just one of those things. I really struggle with putting that in video. It just feels like I hate asking people, can you please follow me? But it does have effect. I've seen like even with like webinars and things, if you
ask, it's a call to action. So I've started my YouTube channel in April this year with 0 followers or zero subscribers, and my YouTube channel is, again, as Kobe said, a lot of long videos of me rambling on. And I have 644 subscribers, and I'm over the moon, right? I never thought that 644 people would like to listen to me talk about tech stuff. So thank you all for the subscribes. It is very cool. So
speaking of ringing a bell, on a slightly sadder note, today I would have been ringing a cowbell that came all the way from the US. To let people know that the next session of DevOps Days would have been starting. Today would have been, the hotel was booked and everything. We actually moved the booking. So today would have been day 1 of DevOps Days Cape Town. But obviously with the plague, it's not responsible and feasible to do it. Well, it's not responsible to do it in person or allowed. And also we just felt the online version, doing that in person, because DevOps Days tends to focus a lot about the personal interaction and learning open space and things. It's just like, we felt nope. So I would have been running out of the cowbell today.
No, man, that's hard. I've missed so many good events this year. And like both of us are very used to being in front of people, and I love that we can chat with you all. And so that's why a boring stream is with nobody comments anything. So feel free to write about things in chat, because we get to interact with you. Otherwise, we used to do that quite often in person, after the talk and during the talk, and hecklers and whatnot. So I really missed that. Hopefully next year, the entire plague situation goes away and we can start being with people.
In their thoughts. We want to be within their thoughts.
We want to be in your minds. Think about it. Oh, man.
So we've got a few minutes left. If anybody has any more technical questions or any AWS-related questions they want to throw at us, we are more than happy to take them. Otherwise, we will continue rambling and self-promoting. And also, how much money do we need to put in it?
I don't know. I guess rands. I don't know. You promoted, so you have to put South African rands in it. So
where did I put it? Here we go. I actually have something. I'm busy slowly cleaning up my office and all the other fun things. And I found some coins that I got back from, what was it, Denmark? Or where was it? The kroner, so that's Denmark, yeah.
Denmark, yeah.
So nice little, and they have holes in still.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very
I still have quite a lot of different coins from different places, yeah. Cool.
Amplify added SSR or server-side rendering. I did not see that. Interesting. Oh, interesting. 2 days ago, SSR support for AWS Amplify JavaScript library. So basically what this enables you to do server-side rendering of your applications written in Next.js, for example.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Server-side rendering is useful.
Yeah. So interesting. Huh.
Here is a fun one.
Yes.
Before Darko clicks somewhere he's not supposed to.
I'm going to throw away my mouse.
Shame, poor mouse. Mine broke on Monday, so I feel for your mouse. So this is a fun one. I was wondering, how does AWS as a company measure your productivity? Do you need to do X things by the end of the week, or do whatever you find interesting? The answer is, to a certain extent, yes.
Yeah.
This is a fun one. So, depending on your role that you have, because there are always some roles where, for example, let's say in premium support, where your job is literally answering support tickets and things. There's an expectation where you need to do X number of tickets, but it's not just like every ticket is the same size. We always take into account what it is you're doing and all that.
Yeah.
Now, I think stepping
one thing
closer
about
to our role.
premium support. Ratings are very important to people in premium support. So if you ever open up a premium support ticket and the person at the other end has helped you, please give them 5 stars. It's very useful for us to gauge how well our support is doing, because if you don't rate, was it helpful for you or not, make sure to do it. It helps a lot in the long run.
And then I think for our role that we have as a developer advocates, that's quite an interesting one. Okay, yes, I see you do need it. That one is a bit more interesting in the sense that, so we are focused with engaging with our community and engaging with customers and being at events, third parties, like for example, conferences, meetups, those kind of things. So we have got some metrics internally in terms of, it's back, in terms of, so it's kind of like it's not like we say, oh, you have to speak at X number of meetups this year, or you have to speak at 1 per month. It's always what makes sense for your region. So we don't go like, so for example, I cover Sub-Saharan Africa, which is last count, I think 47 countries, and Darko covers Central Eastern Europe, Russia, and
that's it. And that's Russia, right? That's Central Eastern and Russia CIS. Russia CIS is the former Soviet republics. So,
but that's 52 countries.
I think so, yeah.
Or not, yeah. Which means that there's no way we can be, so if we had a metric saying you have to be at a meetup in at least once per country, that's not going to work. I mean, there's no way. No. So it boils down to what makes sense in the region, how do we address it, and what are we trying to achieve, which is, hey, show people how to use AWS and how to build things. And we've got a lot of freedom to decide how we want to do that. So for example, Dark and myself are doing a lot of streaming. We're doing YouTube videos. And there are different ways to do it. So you've got a lot of freedom to decide how to. It's all about have the conversation with your manager, tell him this is the plan, and then we say yep or no. Ooh.
Yep. I'm sorry, I hit the mic.
Mic drop.
No, absolutely. But one of the other things we have as well is not just us talking in front of people and talking at people. One of the other things we are kind of, you think of a metric is your feedback. We need to gauge what you say. So if you tell us, hey, Darko and Kobus, I think that Amplify server-side rendering sucks and it's broken because of X. You tell us, we get that feedback to somebody else. We really want to be your voice inside of AWS. So it's not about us yelling at you. You can also yell at us. We can take that feedback, directly. So we try to be very approachable, not just by being us, but approachable as a company. So AWS wants to hear what you say. So we're developer advocates. We are the people who are your voices in the company. So,
yeah. So, I mean, always, if you've got issues with services, please tell us where the rough edges are. Because remember, we don't try to build this super polished service to release on day one with all the 50 billion features. We literally go, what do customers want? Let's build the first minimum viable version of that, like you would in a startup, get it into the customer hands, get feedback, and figure out what it is they're doing, and then shape the product from there. So please always send us your feedback.
Yep. Yeah.
With that, I see we are 2 minutes past the hour. I'm not sure if there's anyone else after us on this channel, so I unfortunately have to cut us short and say thank you very much for joining us again today. We hope you found this useful. Like I said in the comments, that we are back here every week along with a whole bunch of other ones, and hope you found it useful. And thank you, Darko, for joining me once again, especially on very short notice. I believe 3 minutes this time.
3 minutes this time, that's fine. I'm always happy to be here. And thank you, Kobus, for inviting me, and thank you everybody for the questions in the comments. Smash the like button.
Yes, but also follow us on Twitter if you want to know what happens. And also, next time I actually programmed a Twitter button to say we're going live with the URL. So next time I'm going to press that button so people can know that we are going live and where to go live. So awesome. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.